Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm in a little bit of a different space. As some of you know, I moved to a new state and I'm currently in an Airbnb while I finish my house. So I'm recording this intro from my Airbnb. So anyway, today's tutorial is a Halloween tumbler, but I wanted to put a little bit of a kind of pink boho almost twist to it. We'll be using some patterned vinyl from Peachy Olive Glitters, and we'll also be doing a Hydrodip on the cup. I've gotten a lot of requests to do a Hydrodip on my channel, so we're going to be doing that today. And yeah, I really like how this turned out. It's definitely a different spin on the traditional Halloween vibe, but I really like it and I hope that you guys enjoy the video. If you do, make sure you hit the thumbs up button down below. And if you're not already, make sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my new videos. I'll have a list of all the supplies I'm using down below in the description box. I've also got some discount codes down there for you, as well as links to all of my social media pages if you'd like to follow along with me anywhere else. And I'll also have a link to my Facebook group, as well as my exclusive Patreon group, which is like my mentorship special community. We do a lot of great things in there. I do exclusive tutorials every single month. I give away a handful of free SVGs every single month. And there's an entire list of benefits that you can check out at patreon.com/mbmmelite. Okay, I think that's it. I really hope you guys enjoy the video. Let's go.
We're using a big boy today. We're using the 40-ounce skinny straight tumbler from Craft Haven. I love this size and style of cup. They're gigantic and it's so much room to play with. I just love them. So we're going to start by separating our cup into two kind of halves. I want the top half to be bigger than the bottom half. This bottom half is what we're going to be hydro dipping later. So I'm going to put vinyl on this top portion and I wanted them to be not the same size. You can of course do equal halves if you wanted to, but I wanted to do kind of like a 3/4 almost section. So I've taped off that bottom section and now we're going to apply our vinyl to the top section. And you guys already know I'm using my ultimate tumbler making tool from Cami Page Boutique. This is what I use to help me get a straight line of vinyl every single time. And you can see that it stretches enough to fit on this super huge 40-ounce skinny. So I'm just going to put my cup in there and then draw a straight line with that little piece with a pencil. And that's what I'm going to use to line up my vinyl. I'm using vinyl from Peachy Olive Glitters. This is the pink Halloween plaid vinyl. It's a pink and orange kind of checkerboard. It's so super cute and it's kind of different for Halloween. I really liked that. So I'm going to measure the vinyl on my cup and then cut off any excess, set it aside, and use it for something else. And now I've got this straight edge on the side, so I'm going to peel up my vinyl and then trim away about 1 inch of that backing so we have a little sliver of the vinyl adhesive exposed, and that's what we'll use to place the vinyl on our cup. Make sure that it's straight and everything is good before we remove all of the backing and just go like wild with applying our vinyl. So I lined up that straight edge with the straight line I drew on my tumbler with that pencil. I'm going to wrap it around to make sure that it's as straight as I can get it. With patterns like this and stripes and things like that, you really want to make sure that you can get your pattern as straight as possible. With busier patterns, it really doesn't matter as much, but with these kind of like simpler, more precise patterns like plaids and things, it really makes a difference. So I recommend putting in the extra work to make sure that you get it straight. I'm going to smooth the vinyl onto my cup with my felt edged squeegee tool. And once I get to the point where my vinyl is meeting up, I'm going to take my craft knife and just trim off any excess, trying to cut as straight as I possibly can. Now my pattern didn't quite line up perfectly as far as colors go, but the squares are lined up pretty well, so I'm not too mad about the seam. I think it looks okay. So then at the top of the cup, I'm going to pull that excess vinyl up over the top rim and then trim all of that away using my craft knife. I always recommend using a knife that has a brand new blade on it. That will make this process so much easier. Once I've got all the excess trimmed away from the top, I'm going to go in with my same brand new blade on my knife and pop any bubbles. You can see if you just poke a tiny hole in all of the bubbles and then just rub that air out, you won't even be able to tell that there was a bubble there in the first place. Then I'm going to take my painter's tape again and tape off that bottom edge of the vinyl, wrap some saran wrap around the remaining part of this top portion of my cup because we're going to spray paint and work on this bottom portion. I just used flat white, I think it was flat, it's just white spray paint from Rustoleum. After I've painted that, I'm going to remove the saran wrap and my tape, and then I'm going to go into my first coat of epoxy. I've got about 20 milliliters of epoxy mixed up, and I'm going to put a little bit of Firefly from PDB into that epoxy, and I'm starting at the very bottom where I painted my cup white. I'm going to put all of that kind of heavy glitter coverage in there. I put like quite a bit of Firefly in there because I kind of want to do a cheat glitter method on the bottom of my cup. And then after I did that, I added a little bit more epoxy to that same cup. So we've got a little bit of a smaller glitter to epoxy ratio. And then I applied the rest of that epoxy to the top of the cup. So we've got heavier glitter on the bottom and then a little bit lighter up at the top. I used KS Resin Liquidy Split Ultra UV for that, by the way. Once that coat was all cured, I'm ready to go in for my next step. You only need to do one coat. I'm going to use this decal, which is also from Peachy Olive Glitters, same place as the vinyl. Now this is a clear decal. It does not have a white ink backing, so you want to make sure that you don't put it on like a too dark of a background or it won't show up. But I'm putting it on this light background, and as you can see the decal just fine. So I'm just going to rub that on like a sticker, and then I'm going to go through and pop any of the bubbles that I created in my application. Again, you can't even tell once you pop them and rub the air out. Totally fine. Then I went over it with my scraper tool just to make sure it was all smooth and on there as good as I could get it. And then I'm going to go in with another coat of epoxy. Again, I'm using Liquidy Split Ultra UV from KS Resin. That's their fast set. And now I'm ready to jump in and start my Hydrodip. So I'm going to tape off this bottom white portion of the cup here, and I'm going to start to get my Hydrodip ready. I'm using these Easy Marble inks or paints from Marabou. I've got 3 different colors here. I picked these up at Tumbler Con. So the first color I've got is Antique Pink, then Cappuccino, and then I've got Rosewood. So I'm going to shake those up really well to make sure that the ink is all mixed up and blended. And then I'm going to put some gloves on. Don't forget to put gloves on or you'll get this ink all over your hands. I'm just going to drop some of these colors into the water. As you can see here, I've got kind of like lukewarm / room temperature water, about the same temperature that you would use for water slides. You don't want ice cold water and you don't want super hot. So I'm just going to alternate between these colors, starting to create almost like a marble pattern. Now, if you wanted to, you could use some clear Marabou ink in between your different colors, and that'll leave you some more clear spots so that whatever your glitter is or your base color, that will show through a little bit more. I didn't have any more clear ink, so I just kind of went for it with these colors. But if you have like a really cool glitter base, you can always add some clear in to make sure that you show more of that underneath your Hydrodip. I took a paintbrush and kind of mixed up the colors, made them a little more marbly. And then as you can see, I just dunked my cup in there with a little bit of a twist to get that kind of marble look. And then you want to take it out of your water, shake off any excess water, and then just let this dry. So I'm going to kind of tap off any water, shake it off, and there she is. So now from here, I'm going to remove that tape and then let this dry at least 24 hours. I like to just get it as dry as possible. I do not seal the inks with anything, so I'm just going to go straight into epoxy once it's totally dry. Again, I'm using fast setting epoxy here, so I'm going to put on this coat, and then after about 2 to 3 hours, I'll be ready to go in with our next step. So here's the cup with the epoxy on the Hydrodip. And I'm going to tape this off now. I decided that I wanted to glitter this kind of middle seam section where the vinyl and the Hydrodip meet. So I'm taking this painter's tape that's about 1 inch wide, and I'm going to place it right in the middle of that seam, lining up the edge of my tape with the edge of that square in our vinyl to make sure that I get it straight. So I'm going to lie that down there, and then I'm going to basically like use that as a template for where I'm going to place my glitter. So once I get this down, I'm going to take 2 thinner pieces of tape and just line the edges of this middle piece of tape just to kind of create a little stencil area for where my glitter is going to go. So I'm going to do that both on the bottom and the top, and then once I've done that, I'll remove that middle piece of tape and we'll have our blank space that we can add our glitter to. To base paint this middle section, I'm using Pop of Color paints. I'm going to mix together Cool White and Orange Slice. So I'm taking mostly Orange Slice and just a little bit of white. I really just want to lighten up that orange so that it kind of matches the orange in our vinyl. With the glitter we're going to use, you can't really tell what the base color is. I just wanted to try my best to match it, just in case, you could see. Why not try to match it, right? So I'm going to base paint that on there and then let that dry. just a little bit, maybe like 20 minutes. And then I'm going to add a little bit of the glitter glue from Crystalac into the remaining cup of that paint mixture that I made before, and then go in with a second coat on top in that section and use that to apply the glitter. The glitter we're using is Candy Queen from PDB, so I'm just going to place that in this middle section here, make sure I've got really good full coverage, and then I'll remove all of that tape right away before all of the glitter and glue and everything dries. So after this dried, I sealed it with a coat of the glitter glue, just that glitter section, and then I went in with a coat of epoxy, did some sanding, and now I'm going to add another coat of epoxy here. So you just want to make sure that you seal that glitter section so that that glitter doesn't travel all over your cup. But once you're done with that, your cup should be totally smooth and you should be all finished. So here is the final result for this tumbler. I'm calling this kind of my pink boho Halloween tumbler. I really love how this turned out. I like that it's a little bit different from the traditional Halloween tumblers that we see all the time, but still has that kind of same Halloween feel to it. So I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope that it inspires you to create something of your very own. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you did enjoy the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Love you. Bye.
Ooh, this is kind of good lighting.